This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How are we doing today on this Football Friday? It's the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com, hanging out live in the Derry Daniel State Farm Studios just off McFarland Boulevard with my friend Mason Woods and my dog Abby, who is trying her best to do good. We hope that you guys are having a great Friday and hope you have a great weekend ahead. Hope you have some great Christmas plans with the family. There is no Alabama football this weekend, but that doesn't stop this from becoming a Football Friday. So we're going to have a lot of fun looking at the ACC Championship, hanging out with our friends. You're right. Thank you very much. Hanging out with our friends Mason Woods in the Derry Daniel Studios. Make sure you follow Mason Woods at MAWoods_ on the Twitter machine, and make sure you find us right off McFarland Boulevard. Call Derry Daniel and his team at 205-758-3391 for all of your insurance needs. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. Mason Woods, mix it up a little bit this week. You had your other job work day today.
Yeah. Yes, it did. We had our Home Depot Christmas thing today, so I had to, go there and celebrate that with everybody.
Excellent. Nice. You'll have a little apple cider, a little
No.
Christmas
I mean, it was
tree?
just a very little dirty Santa thing with just me and my coworkers, but it was cool. I got a blanket. That was pretty sweet.
We love blankets.
It's a nice Crimson Tide blanket.
Roll Tide.
It's going right on the couch when I get home.
There you go. You, Rusty, the cat, and Miss Melissa, they'll all enjoy that Crimson Tide blanket, I'm sure. Great start to Christmas for you. Just got to further the comment and complete the loop. What was your contribution? Did you have it for a specific someone or just put it in the pot?
For someone, it was like a big Alabama, one of those big Yeti tumbler cup kind of deals.
Perfect.
Filled it with some candy. So that was
there. You go. You can use it in all.
Worked out pretty well.
Excellent. You can use it hot weather to stay cool. Cool weather stay hot. That's usually what I'm using it for. My coffee. Good gift. Good job. Way to way to make the coworkers feel good. Feel the Christmas spirit over at the Home Depot. But we are now ready for the weekend. And it's a sparse weekend for the Alabamas, from the Alabama perspective, just because no football, no basketball. You're really looking, let me see what is on the Roll Tide calendar, just out of curiosity, because it's really, really empty off the top of my head. Now, okay, December tonight, a little gymnastics preview meet over at Coleman Coliseum. I see you, gymnastics. Track and field over the weekend. Is that going to be the season opener up in Boston? Oh, gross. That's gonna be it's indoor. Duh.
We got any ladies hoops? They've been crushing.
No ladies hoops. The ladies hoops actually lost their first game of the year last night to Cal, 65-69. So it was a close game out there in Berkeley. So it was on the road. They've started off really, really well.
They really have. What are they? 7-1 or something like that.
They are. We don't want to. They're 9-1 now. You're 2 games behind, my man. They went on a 9-game win streak and could not push it to 10. They're going to return home on Sunday, next Sunday. They're going to return home, and it's going to be their next game next Sunday, December 15th, against Murray State at 2 p.m. So take you and the loved ones to church, and then pop on over to Coleman Coliseum next Sunday to watch the girls try to get their 10th win of the year.
Maybe do it faster than the men will.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, really empty calendar. Gymnastics kind of inter-squad meet tonight in Coleman Coliseum. Track and field indoor in Boston on Saturday. Nothing on Sunday. And then we'll be obviously back here with you on Monday. Sunday, obviously, look, is the big deal. It's Selection Sunday. It's going to be 11:15. Is that what it is? 12:15.
So.
Let's find out. College football selection showtime Sunday.
Of course, it just says Sunday, December 8th. Don't bother giving me
noon
a time or
on
anything.
Sunday, December 8th, which is 11 o'clock Central Time. So I think you will know about 11:15 Sunday morning.
Yeah. Unless they want to, I guess, drag it out super long. But usually I feel like with the last show, they're pretty good about it, aren't they?
Well, most of these shows, they've been pretty good about, let's get right into the rankings.
Yeah.
Here's 25, 24, 23, 22. And they'll take a couple pauses to be like, oh, this was a different. And then
maybe they read the comments on the last few years, because I remember last year, maybe the year before, it was like every selection show was like an hour and a half long, and it was just Reese Davis up there spewing nothing for no reason.
Well, exactly. I mean, you don't need the 30 minutes of what do you think the rankings will be? We don't know. This could happen. That could happen. Now let's reveal them after 30 minutes of pontificate. And then you go another hour of this is what just do it like you've been doing. Spit the rankings out and then react to them. I think that's going to be what happens. So it's going to be about 11:10, 11:15. You're going to know if Alabama is in on Sunday. We'll probably know already if Alabama is in based off of.
You might know right now.
So, well, exactly. We'll weave that into this conversation. Saturday night at 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock Central Time on ABC. Clemson is taking on the SMU Mustangs.
The eyes of the world turn to Charlotte, North Carolina.
The eyes of Tuscaloosa for sure. And really, I'll use this to further your comment. I've got a Georgia fan buddy who he might paint his face orange with some purple tigers on him.
I bet there's a lot of teams watching this that are not Alabama fans that will be very, very hard rooting for Clemson.
They're saying Dabo. NIL, GOD, they are singing the Clemson praises this weekend.
Dabo.
And I said, Billy, do you want Alabama Clemson to win? And so Alabama is left out more than you want Georgia to win this weekend so that Georgia gets a bye. He said, yes.
I mean, he's locked in either way, so I guess I can't blame him. You got to play that hater role. I kind of respect it.
You do?
I kind of respect it, honestly. As a hater myself, I respect it.
To me, it's just like whatever. Just cheer for your own team.
I mean, he don't want to play Alabama. I know that to be true. I know any Georgia fan does not want to see Alabama in this playoff. That is Kirby Smart's kryptonite, apparently, and it does not matter who was on the sideline for Alabama. Kalen DeBoer, Nick Saban, whoever. I think Georgia fans have every right to be rooting for Clemson. I think anybody has every right to be rooting for Clemson in this game that is in this playoff field right now. Any of these teams that are pretty much locked in here, I doubt any of them would rather see Clemson or rather see Bama than Clemson.
Well, of course. I mean, yes, you'd rather see Clemson than Alabama. I just think it's elite hater. Like, oh, come on, just cheer for your own team, and who cares? Like, is Alabama really living in your head like that? Is that really? And I guess it is. I guess they are across the country. I've always been one to downplay. From the inside of Alabama circles, do you get a lot of, they're biased against us because they're jealous, right? And I've always been downplaying that. But then you see stuff like this, and it's like, well, I guess you're right.
Me and my dad, lifelong Alabama fan, much like a lot of people I know, and he is he constantly talks to me about how much they hate Alabama, but it goes both ways. Alabama gets the benefit of the doubt a lot of the time. Alabama got the benefit of the doubt in this playoff. They looked at them and they
earned it.
They played on a tougher schedule than the teams they were up against, but they got the benefit of the doubt too for being that crimson and white with that big A on the screen. So, while the average public probably hates Alabama a lot, I would say that a lot of the media, a lot of the people in charge realize what kind of weight that brand carries and respect it accordingly.
So before we talk really about the actual, Clemson and SMU game, you brought up something before we got started. Which was the ESPN Football Power Index is basically odds to make the playoffs, percentage chances to make the playoffs. And there it was like 96, 98%, 99% for SMU if SMU wins the game. All right, great. That's what we all assumed. If SMU wins, all the rankings from this past Tuesday night will hold into Sunday, and Alabama will be in at 11. Great, no problem. Then they flip to if Clemson wins the game And do you have it pulled up? Was it
72%?
72%?
72%. Alabama still has a chance to make the college football playoff with a Clemson win per the All-State playoff predictor.
That is insane to me. And like, while obviously we cover Alabama and it's better when Alabama wins,
Sure.
and I get a lot more cool experiences when Alabama wins. So great. It'll be cool to go up to to Notre Dame, go up to Ohio State, go up to Penn State, wherever they end up seeding Alabama. But to read that feels very icky to me.
Sure.
Because does that mean, and yes, it does. It does mean if Clemson wins, that means that according to the people that have got this metric, that they think that the playoff committee is going to say, well, SMU, you have 0 ranked wins. Alabama has 3.
Mm-hmm.
Your resume, I think you played the 75th or 70, in the 70s in strength of schedule.
Yeah, that's 82 or something. I think.
Just so not good. Not just like the rest of the ACC. Yep. I mean, what a crime for the ACC to have their 3 best teams, Clemson, Miami, and SMU, to all be with a good record, but none of them have played each other in the regular season. That's how unbalanced your schedule is in that league.
Yeah.
And so look, when you stack the resume up, sure, I think you're right. Alabama's resume is probably better.
Yep.
But what you did on Tuesday night, ranking SMU at 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
9 at 8. You ranked them ahead of Alabama by 4 spots. If Alabama doesn't play in their conference championship game, which they're not, and we're okay, we can accept that reality.
Mm-hmm.
Their resume is done, and they're in the house at 11. It feels icky.
Yeah, I think the committee messed themselves up here. They ranked SMU too high, too early. You should have waited until you had this game against Clemson as your actual metric for measuring this team. They have not played anybody. The best team on their schedule is Duke, who crawled to 9-3 against an equally as terrible schedule.
Right.
So they have no leg to stand on.
They beat a ranked Louisville team at the time.
What did Louisville finish?
Louisville's
7-5?
8-4.
8-4. Okay.
5-3 in the league.
All right. So maybe that's your best win. Still, if that's what you're carrying, if that's what you're carrying is your big flag, waving it around for everybody, you don't stack up.
They beat Duke by 1 point.
Yeah,
28-27.
And if I remember listening, I was trying to get in, read about, listen to some previews about this game. I think it was like a last second score where Duke basically had the game in hand, and SMU either got a turnover and then scored really quickly, So it was almost a fluke win for SMU where they, really, you play that game again, they might lose it. So you don't have any argument outside of, well, we have all these wins. It's like, sure, they look really good on paper, but when you get into the schedule, those wins came against no one.
Yeah, the game actually went into overtime. Duke scored with nine minutes left in the fourth quarter to tie it. They went to overtime. SMU scored, kicked a field goal, or kicked extra point. Duke scores, went for 2, didn't get it. So, I mean, good on you, but that's a coin flip play. That is like that's a total coin flip play.
I'm sorry. That what is it? 11. That number 11 or that number 10 looks really cool, but it means nothing.
They're at 8.
No. This your win total.
Oh yeah. 11 and 1.
Yeah, that looks cool and all, but it doesn't mean anything when it came against this gauntlet of Alabama School for the Blind and Deaf, Little Sisters of the Poor, whoever. It just goes on. There is no one notable on that schedule. There is no notable win on that schedule.
You don't like their win against Houston Christian?
I sure don't. I tell you, and you look at their loss, it's against BYU. Ugh, that's an ugly loss. I understand, sure BYU is.
They had a pretty good year. They were in the mix for the Big 12 championship for a long time.
Yeah.
But faded late. I mean,
and the Big 12 is a shell of what it has been.
Totally.
This is off topic. Did you see, the quarterback that colloquially goes by BYU?
No, I didn't.
That's his nickname. That's his nickname. Yeah, he goes by, he's first Jewish quarterback in BYU history.
Oh my God!
He signed an NIL deal with like a kosher food company this week, and I saw his little ad for it. It was very, very funny. It's good for him, making the most of his very unique situation he's probably found himself.
Good for him, indeed, absolutely. So that's where I want to start with. Does this game can our listeners, can our viewers schedule a Christmas concert? Can they schedule, can they take the family on a, let's go look and see what the Christmas lights in the special neighborhoods across the Southeast, and not even watch, look, you're about to be locked into the couch for the next several weeks in holiday season. Yeah. So for the family men and women, this might be, you got this weekend and next weekend before the college football playoffs start. If Alabama's going to be in this thing, you're going to be locked in. So, Mason, can our listeners and our viewers say, oh, it doesn't even matter. I need to take advantage of Alabama not playing. I need to hang the Christmas lights. I need to clean the house. I need to make sure that whatever the pantry is full for the Christmas season for everybody coming over. I need to go whatever we need to do for the holidays.
I think so. And that feels bad to say, but I think
That's
so.
Icky.
Sure. But I think this playoff committee already showed us what they feel about resume versus resume when they ranked Miami below Alabama. They've already shown us how they feel when they rank South Carolina behind Alabama. Yeah, I mean, you had the head there, but sure, they've told us what they feel about this Alabama team with last week's ranking, I think, and
they've just told you that Alabama, you're the last team in the field. Period. Sorry.
I think so. I mean, to me, if they had ranked Alabama behind Miami last week,
sure.
Then we're having a different conversation right now, because then, it looks like maybe they're just valuing what's in that win column over your actual resume and who you competed against, who you won against, who you lost against. But since they did not do that, since the Miami Hurricanes got what they felt was the short end of the stick, I would imagine it would continue through this week if SMU does not prove itself against the one team or the one chance that they have to prove themselves. If they can't do it, psych, you're out, buddy. I hate it.
All right, let's talk about the game. Before we talk about the game, we'll tell you about our friends, Dustin Foley and Purple Total Roofing. They're the most reliable residential roof replacement company in Alabama and Mississippi. That's right. If you're in Mississippi, you can get your roof redone as well. Purple Turtle Roofing, whether it's addressing leaks, storm damage, or general wear and tear, Purple Turtle Roofing is going to be there to deliver exceptional roof repair for your property. They're the leading expert in local residential roofing solutions, specializing in providing unparalleled service and quality craftsmanship for all your roof replacement needs. Call Dustin Foley and his team today at 877-PT-ROOF-5 for your free roof inspection. That's 877-787-6635 to schedule your appointment, and one of their qualified employees will come check out your roof for free, making sure you're prepared for any and all of life's storms. You can check them out online today at roofturtle.com. And I encourage you, if you're on Facebook, to find Purple Turtle Roofing. Dustin Foley and his team put out a score prediction contest this past week for the Iron Bowl, and promised to do many more of that. Looks like they were giving away gift cards. Looks like they were giving away merchandise, perhaps. It might be a great way to put your football knowledge to good use and get yourself a brand new roof from Purple Turtle Roofing. So find them on Facebook as well to make sure that you are part of their next prediction contest. Mason Woods, the game opened at Clemson as a 2-point favorite. It is now SMU as a 2.5-point favorite. So the line has moved 4.5 points. You're looking at the Clemson Tigers. Kevin Jennings, right? Kevin Jennings has replaced the SMU starting quarterback and has been their starting quarterback for quite some time now, and has been dangerous on the ground and in the air. He's got 2,700 yards passing, 19 passing touchdowns. He's got several rushes as well. He's dangerous on the ground. What's his total? 344 yards on the ground and 4 touchdowns since he's taken over. So SMU, we'll start just to take it from an SMU perspective. We're the new kids on the block. We're coming from the American, right? We've come in from the American, and boom, year one, we are in the ACC Championship. We get Rhett Lashley on the passing game wizard. No, actually, I'm an offensive wizard. They've implemented
might be a defensive wizard too.
A bit of a good running game and a really physical defense that makes you drive the football field. What do you think about SMU? Do you think everybody's going to be surprised this Saturday when the national media actually watches SMU for the first time and says, "Oh, this might They're a playoff team.
I think they might be. You know, we spent that whole first bit of the show there doing resume talk, talking about, well, if you lose this game, you don't deserve it at all, SMU, because you haven't played anybody. You haven't proven it. But all that to say, I do actually think this is a good SMU team. I just think you have to prove it. I just want to see it. I just want to see you prove it. And I think they will. I feel good about what they can do offensively. You look at Rashard Smith, the running back. He's got almost 200 carries this year for 1,200, right about 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns. He can catch ball out of the backfield. He's got 30 receptions for 270 yards, 3 scores. So I think this offense is very versatile from what they can do. And, you know, I think the thing to start with, you know, to note with this team, 22 players from the transfer portal. Over, I think I heard it was like 85% of their starting snaps this year have come from players in the transfer portal.
On that, 22 from this cycle, I think the whole roster is like 60 or 70 transfers as a whole.
So this is, I mean, you know, you want to talk storylines heading into this game. Oh, little old Clemson with zeros, I guess technically 1 transfer, and he is Paul Tyson, who is a graduate assistant that is listed as the
Wouldn't
emergency
you love to see
quarterback.
Paul Tyson play?
Oh, that'd be so funny. And he slings like 8 touchdowns, ACC Championship, sets the record.
He tears it up, Clemson wins, and he says, "Oh, middle finger to you, Alabama! I just got you," you know, and all the Alabama fans. That's so Bear Bryant's great grandson kicking Alabama out of the playoffs.
But yeah, so you know, back to like the game. I think this is a big kind of this could be a big storyline for the Clemson Tigers and Dabo Swinney and the way that he likes to run his program, the way he likes to operate things up there in South Carolina, because he has been so adamant about not utilizing the transfer portal. He's been so adamant about not, you know, trying to acquire talent any way other than the good old-fashioned way, getting these kids in high school and recruiting them. You might stumble here, Dabo, because it might finally come back to bite you, because this newcomer that came to your conference that you've dominated for the last decade, they did it the modern way. They got the 60, 70 transfers, completely revamped their entire team, and here they are to come knock your doors down. And I think it might happen. I don't think SMU is going to come out here and destroy them, but I just don't think Clemson matches up super good with what SMU does. They have a very strong defense. They get after the quarterback. 85 sacks in the last 2 seasons. Like, Clemson, I don't think they're going to really have an answer unless Cade Klubnik just goes absolutely nuclear in this game, because what is the running back? Phil Maffa, he's dealing with a little bit of injury issues. He's going to be limited, I think. Obviously, they're going to try to get as much out of him as they can, but it just didn't look good for the Clemson Tigers here, I don't think. And, you know, I say all that to now say that anytime you doubt Dabo Swinney, he proves us wrong, it seems like. But I don't know. This is not Trevor Lawrence's Clemson. This is not Deshaun Watson's Clemson. You know, this is a new team. They have not performed well against top 10 teams the last 2 seasons, the last 3 seasons. So,
I just looked at it. You're actually going to have a ways to go before you got to Paul Tyson. You get Birmingham native Chris Vazina first off the bench. If he were to be the reason that Alabama got left out of the playoffs, because he wasn't really on the. I think he was always attracted to Clemson. Look, I was so fired up for this game, Mason, and I think you did. I think you outlined a lot of it really, really well. So I'm not really going to try to piggyback on it. But I was really fired up for this game on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday. Yeah. But about midday Wednesday, it started to set in. These jokers, this is a sham.
Bama's in.
Yes.
Bama's in.
While, okay, probably should be in.
Resume, if we're doing resume talk, Bama has a better resume than either of these teams.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Better resume than Miami, better resume than Ole Miss.
Winning a conference championship, winning a bad conference championship doesn't really move the needle for me. I mean, look, they showed you last year. They showed you last year. ACC, you're undefeated champion. We don't care.
Boo-hoo.
Well, we don't care. And this year, you're not going to have an undefeated champion. It's going to be at least 12 and 1, or it's going to be 10 and 3. Like, maybe they're going to say it again. You're a one big league. We don't care. I think from my heart, Mason, I want SMU to win because I just don't really want to see waking up on Sunday, being at church on Sunday, 11:15, and Alabama in at 11 and Clemson in and SMU out because they've won. And like the corruption talk,
it would be at an all-time high.
Right. The corruption talk drives me crazy anyways, but like, what do you say?
Yeah, if that does happen,
you can't say anything.
Yeah, while we have laid out, we do the resume talk, I'm not going to sit here, like you said, at church on Sunday and go face-to-face with somebody and lay out all 12 games that SMU played versus Alabama's schedule and point out, this is why they're worse. You can't do that. There's no argument to be made there.
Right. If you look under the hood, I think it's very obvious. But you're gonna have emotional people watchers who see 11-1, who see at that point it'll be 11-2. 11-2 is better than 9-3. They won 2 more games and they lost 1 fewer game. That's simple math. 2-1. That's simple math. They should be like. You're not gonna get the people that'll look under the hood. They'll just see the number 11-2. Yep. They should be in over 9-3. Favoritism. Logo watching. Money, corruption, SEC bias, ESPN SEC bias. They'll be at an all-time high. And that'll drive me crazy because I think you have a certain, like, college football is great because look, everybody has a college that their mama and daddy liked and kind of get passed down to them, or everybody has a college that they went to and stuff. Like, it's kind of ingrained in the fabric of the culture, especially in the Southeast. But you get a lot of very casual fans because it's a low barrier of entry. Yeah, you just got to turn it on and be like, oh, my closest college is Tuscaloosa, whatever the case may be. That's who I like. Low barrier of entry.
I wore those colors one time.
Right. Low barrier. And so because of that, I think that you're not getting people who are watching it day in and day out. You're not getting people and they're but they're the ones who are going on Twitter and making all that. This is favoritism. Yep. It's not favoritism. I'm sorry. It's better football.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got 20 years of history to show you that it's better football.
Now, if SMU wins, they deserve it.
I just hope they win so that this conversation is not a factor on Monday.
I hope that they do. Because we're going to have the conversation on this show Monday. And that's going to be a tough one.
Yeah. Again, we will definitely acknowledge the favoritism aspect if that's the case. But I stand firm that I think that I stand firm that I think that Alabama deserves their spot at 11. Winner of the ACC does deserve to get in. I think if I were the committee, though, I wouldn't want to deal with the hassle. If Clemson wins, you just bump SMU from 8 to 11, and you bump Clemson in at 10 or bump Clemson in at 12 or whatever. You flip-flop them, right? You make them 11 and 12. Boom. Sorry, Alabama. You just didn't do the things you needed to do to be in. A three-loss conference champion gets in over a 3-loss non-conference champion. That's just like, that's what I would do to avoid the controversy.
But that's not
probably not what's right.
Teams,
right? You wouldn't get you the 12 best teams for sure. That's not what's right. It's a complicated situation.
Yeah, I hate it for them. I think this is for the long-term health of college football, though. This is the best outcome that Alabama gets into this playoff over SMU if SMU were to lose here, because if SMU loses this game and then still makes the playoff, you know what that tells everyone else in the college football world? Okay, all those non-conference games we've got lined up, let's start buying them out. Let's start scheduling Murray State. Let's start scheduling whoever,
Houston Christian, the Houston Christian Huskies, like SMU did in week number 2.
And that is the absolute last thing that we want for college football. We want more competitive non-conference games. We want more teams to schedule the top 25 matchup, just because it's good for the health of the sport. And
now I think SMU tried to schedule pretty decent non-conference games for their level. They scheduled BYU and Nevada, but that's, if I'm Rhett Lashley,
BYU is a good one,
right?
I don't think I give them Nevada.
Well, if I'm Rhett Lashley, that's the kind of game that I need for my program. Are you better served beating Nevada 29-24 or going to Ohio State and get your brains beat in?
I mean, they didn't have to schedule Ohio State, but you schedule Florida. That looks pretty good.
True.
You schedule even a Mississippi State. That looks pretty good. That looks better than Nevada.
And that's probably about the same level.
But you get that SEC, it means more.
It just means more. Hashtag.
I don't. It's not a shock that SMU is good. They have, like we said, they have brought in over 60 transfers. This is a team that did a lot. They spent a lot of money. It's not like oh, we're little SMU, little Cinderella story. Like, no, they bought and paid for all this talent, and they are utilizing. It's
got to be easy to recruit to Dallas.
I would sure think so.
Come have our barbecue, watch the Cowboys,
take you to a couple Mavericks games.
Right. Meet Mark Cuban.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. I like Mark Cuban. He seems like a cool guy.
Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes he is. He's got a little quirky lately. But yeah, he is. That would be fun. That'd be a great place to recruit.
Yeah, it'd be hard to recruit against them. That's for dang sure.
Clemson, y'all better win, or you're gonna have a big power in the ACC birth right in 1 year.
You're gonna have.
What's it say about the ACC?
I think it says bad things about the ACC.
Right. Well, that you can go to the portal over a couple of years and say, yeah, we're ready for the ACC, and we'll go to the portal again and get the right pieces.
Because you look at, this is what Ole Miss did in the SEC, and it did not work for them. Did not work at all for them. You lost Kentucky at home. You lost LSU on the road. Then you lost to Florida, duh. So it does just mean more. So ACC is a weak conference. They do not belong in the power discussion. It is the power 2 and everyone else.
That's yes. That's what people don't understand. People think that the ACC and people think that the Big 12 are playing the same sport that the Big 10 and the SEC are, and they're just really not. All right, Mason, let's turn it over to a little basketball. Before we do, we'll remind everybody again, we are live in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios, just off McFarland Boulevard, past the Tiger Rock on the left. Call Derek and his team, Red Reese and Victoria, 205-758-3391 for all of your insurance needs. Derek and his team will be happy to get you a quick quote or talk you through any questions. 205-758-3391. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. Mason Woods, you better enjoy Darian Reed and LeBaron Philon. No Alabama basketball this weekend. Next Alabama basketball game will be against the evil Creighton Blue Jays next Saturday. But Kevin Sweeney, Sports Illustrated, puts out his newest mock draft 2 hours ago. And coming in at number 19 is Alabama forward Darian Reed. And coming in at number 21 is Alabama guard LeBaron Philon.
You can't have him.
Freshman, two freshmen.
Have them.
One and done for both.
That would be great for this Alabama program, obviously. That would be fantastic to see two more players get drafted in the first round of the NBA draft.
One and done.
But, man, that would be tough for me as a fan because I really do love both these players. Darian Reed he is probably this team's most consistent defender. I think during the Oregon game, they had him mic'd up, and you could even hear one of the Oregon players walked up to him and asked him, "So you're their best defender?" And he just kind of said, "Oh, you saw that on film, So he is this team's best defender. And then, like we say about LeBaron Philon every time we talk about him, he is the everything man. He does absolutely everything well. He is all around the game. He's all around the court, and at any given moment, he's there. He's just. It would be tough to lose him, but if that is the case, I would obviously wish them both the best in the NBA, and they would probably fit in pretty well.
Sweeney's note on LeBaron. Philon has worked his way into an essential role in Alabama's loaded rotation thanks to his playmaking ability and fearlessness. His slender build could create some pause around the NBA, but it's hard to not buy into his pro future after watching performances like his 18 points on the road at the Purdue Boilermakers or 16 points and 9 assists against Illinois in November. What does this do for NATO, it's in the Crimson Tide. I mean, look, we were all talking about Final Four or bust. Okay, that's great. That's fun. But that aside, if you put Darian Reed and LeBaron Philon into the NBA, if you put Mark Sears into the NBA in the second round, if you put these three guys in the league, what does it do for your recruitment of AJ DeBansa? I know that you wrote about AJ DeBansa pretty recently. You cut down his list from 5 to 4 to 3 or whatever it is. You can tell his dad was on the sidelines at North Carolina, so I know North Carolina and Alabama are both involved in the DeBansa debate. BYU as well, very heavily. Lots of people are talking. You got to have an $8-10 million, some massive offer to AJ DeBansa. Just where are we at with? Where's Alabama at with AJ DeBansa? And if LeBaron and Darian Reed both go top 20, top 21, I guess according to Kevin Sweeney, what's it do for your recruitment of DeBansa?
I mean, I think it can only solidify what already is clearly a high opinion that he has of Alabama, because he did name them in his top 4 this past week, or this week, just the other day. Alongside, like you said, North Carolina, BYU, and Kansas. So he very obviously views Alabama as, alongside those programs in college basketball. I know BYU is kind of the wild card there, but I think
hometown, right?
Yeah, hometown. He's from Hurricane, Utah, which is like the coolest name for a city ever. But so that just that would make sense. But I think it would do a lot of things. Obviously, selfishly, I'd like to see those players on the court together, if we could get that. We're not going to. So I think it would just continue to solidify what he already knows and what he already thinks about Alabama, that this is a program that is dedicated to getting guys to the NBA, that is dedicated to playing high-level basketball, playing NBA-style basketball, and has proven it. And if that happened, would only have proven it more at that point. I know, like you said, his dad was in attendance of the UNC game, and then I think.
What do you think his dad thought of that performance?
I bet he enjoyed it. I bet he had a good time. I bet he was probably surprised. I doubt that he showed up to that game expecting to see as much of a blowout as he did, but I have to think it left a good taste in his mouth for the Alabama Crimson Tide, at least. Maybe not for North Carolina, but.
Maybe going to maybe helped NATO solidify that discount, that NIL discount.
It may be.
Hey man, we'll put you on these big stages.
I mean, the thing with him is, it's 1 year, man. You'll be in the NBA after that. Just play you 1 year here.
Alabama will keep you healthy, get you paid a decent amount.
Oh, yeah, they're not gonna give you nothing.
Yeah, it won't be the BYU. I think BYU is coming in hard with that $10 million.
Well, I mean, where all the money is coming from with BYU. I mean,
the Jazz folks, right?
Well, that, and it's just the Mormons. The Mormon Church has billions and billions of dollars at its disposal, more money than any one group in the entire world has. So. They can use it as they wish. I don't know how much they're dipping their toes into collegiate athletics, but I would imagine maybe they would.
Yeah, to see somebody represent. I mean, in basketball, one player, it goes a long way. I think DeBansa is going to be that kind of a player as well.
He absolutely is. I was reading a scouting report about him the other day, and I think the one thing that I remember reading, it was the last thing in the report, was just there is not one player in the country with a higher ceiling than AJ DeBansa.
Yeah, for sure. Length. What is he, 6'8", 6'9", 10?
Mm-hmm.
He's in that range. Length, shot-making ability, athleticism, the way he handles the basketball. I think that, one thing it's going to – and not that it's a problem, but one thing that he would have to get him engaged on the defensive end, I think, a little bit.
I honestly think that's just a result of just the way kids come up playing basketball.
Yes, of being the best player on the court.
Yeah. You're running AAU circuits, you're playing 5-6 games like in a weekend sometime, and it's nothing more than just, all right, sprint up and down the court and score as many times as you can do. Make yourself as noticeable as you can to all the scouts that are here. I think, what was it? It was November 30th. Yes, right at a week ago. Nate Oates and I think Darian Reed and one other player, I don't remember who it was, were in attendance of one of AJ DeBansa's high school games. And he threw down a nasty reverse windmill on somebody and immediately turned and looked right over who was in attendance. So you love to see that.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, Nate has 4 first-round picks already. Kyra Lewis, Josh Primo, Noah Clowney, and Brandon Miller. I know that really, I guess, Kyra is technically not his recruit, but he did coach Kyra his last year. So he gets credit for Kyra. He's got 4 first-round picks. He's got 6 total draft picks when you throw in J.D. Davison and Herb Jones as well as second-round draft picks. If you can bump that number up from 6 to 8, 6 to 9 this year, just goes to show the health of the basketball program. And it's really, I mean, I know there's no game this weekend, but cannot stress to you enough to start thinking about next Saturday. If you have tickets, make your plans. If you don't have tickets, make your plans. If you have tickets and you can't go, make your plans. It's going to be a huge night in Coleman Coliseum as Creighton, who just knocked off Kansas, stormed the court and started chanting bleep KU, bleep KU, bleep KU over and over. So if you don't think they're riding the high, they are. And so Alabama needs to welcome them with the hospitality, the Southern hospitality like we usually do. So Alabama's basketball program can continue this great run of wealth.
Yeah, I mean, if they can, if they already have a pretty solid looking few signees in the 2026 class between Davian Hannah, Amari Allen, and London Jemison. If they can add AJ Devonsa, that class is going to just skyrocket. I mean, right up to the top of the nation, I would think. And yeah, the sky would be limitless for what he can do in this system. I would just imagine. He is so athletic. He is so he already has such a natural feel for the game, similar to like a LeBaron Philon, but he is 6'10". So he's just going to be. He's a very special player.
All right, brother Mason, you want to finish this bad boy out with a little bit of an interesting topic and have a little debate here? No Alabama football, and I don't really care about making picks for the SEC Championship, Georgia, Texas, great. Who cares? Yeah, I'll watch some of these games this weekend, but I will be trying to recharge and prepare for a postseason run. I'll be trying to clean the house. I'll be trying to just kind of do my own thing.
And that Georgia, Texas game is kind of a toss-up to me. I really don't know what to make of it. I in my heart of hearts, I think the Texas Longhorns are a soft football team. And I think that they're front runners, and I think that if they get punched in the mouth, they don't respond. But it's hard to beat a team twice, and we have seen that a lot in the SEC. We've seen it a lot in college football. Can Georgia do it? Maybe. Obviously there's been a long time between these two games. It was second week of October they played or something like that.
6th of the 12th. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I think I do think it'll be a good game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout one way or the other.
So I don't really care about making picks.
Yeah.
What I want to do is debate an Alabama football topic. Who is the newcomer of the year? Who's the best new player on the scene? We'll define newcomer as this. We'll define newcomer as someone who did not make a contribution to the 2023 football team. So if you were a good player on the 23 team, you don't count. Someone who's brand new. So it can be someone who's already on the roster, who's been on the roster, who's been baking and marinating, who's just come onto the scene and arrived, or someone brand new to the program as well. The newcomer of the year. Easiest choice, and everyone's choice, is going to go to number 2, the freshman Ryan Williams. But I wonder if there are other choices that would at least present a conversation. I mean, Ryan had a great start. Don't know. He's slower finish to the year. 45 receptions, 857 yards, and 8 receiving touchdowns. He's got a couple of rushing touchdowns as well, 2 rushing touchdowns. So 10 total touchdowns for the freshman, which is absolutely insane. I don't want to undersell that, but he did have a little bit of a stretch here over the last several weeks where his only 2 times over 100 yards were Western Kentucky and Georgia in receiving yards.
He's only got 1 touchdown in the last 5 weeks.
Right. The last time he had 4 receptions in a game or more was against Missouri. So LSU, Mercer, Oklahoma, and Auburn, he was held to 3 or fewer receptions. So really great year. I'm not trying to say that. I'm trying to at least invite the option that Parker Brailsford can be considered, that Bray Hubbard can be considered, that Quay Russaw can be considered, that Damani Jackson can be considered. Who else? That Jeremy Bernard can be considered. I think there's a lot of options here. I think Ryan is like knee-jerk reaction, and Ryan might be
Sure.
the right answer. But I think there's a lot of candidates for Newcomer of the Year. So I say Newcomer of the Year. I open the criteria up to you, Mason, and throw some of these random names out. Josh Cuevas, I know you're a Cuevas fan as well.
Like Cuevas.
What do you think when I say who is Alabama football's Newcomer of the Year?
You did say the guy that I jumped into my head, and it's Jeremy Bernard. I love what he has done, especially in the absence of Ryan Williams the last 4 or 5 weeks, where he's kind of taken a step back. Jeremy Bernard has taken a step up, and he has been that feature receiver. He's been that main guy. I mean, looking at his game log here, what is it, the last 4 or 5 games, he's been 7 catches, 4 catches, 4 catches, 111 yards, 60 yards, 81 yards. So, I mean, he's just been solid. He doesn't have any touchdowns to go with it, but, it is what it is. If you've been watching Alabama the last few weeks, they've been punching the ball in short a lot with the running backs. So, kind of just the way the game goes. I really like what Jeremy Bernard brings. I think he's a very versatile receiver. I think he's a very underrated receiver. I don't think he gets enough love because of Ryan Williams, and that's not to take anything away from Ryan Williams. Like we just said, he is fantastic, and his ceiling is probably higher than Jeremy Bernard's. I won't deny that, but I think he's gotten maybe put on the back burner a little bit, and maybe not rightfully so. I think he deserves to be talked about as Alabama's best receiver this season.
So what do you think the best way to decide this? If we want to make it just one person, or make it a top 3? Because I think that
it's hard to rank them because what everybody I don't know where you're going, but I think I might know where you go with one of them.
Yeah, walking into the year, you're thinking Jeremy for sure. You're thinking Parker, and you're thinking Keon Sabb. You're thinking Parker Braille. You're thinking Keon Sabb. You're thinking Ryan Williams.
Yeah.
Obviously, Keon had a good year until he was hurt.
Sure.
I think you got to leave Ryan in your top 3 somewhere, just because of how just utterly insane some of the things that he has done.
Absolutely. And I mean, he burst onto the scene so just like it was like he had been playing college football for 2 seasons already, but his first game. He just looked so comfortable out there. Now, obviously, I think defenses have adjusted a bit and maybe figured out some things to maybe get into maybe some ways to affect him. And we've seen that, but he has still been absolutely everything that we hoped he would be and more.
But I think I'm going to pick one of your favorites here. What did Nick Saban say in July? I think Georgia and Texas are going to go to the SEC Championship game. Good job, Coach. Credit to you. You got that. Nailed it. He said, I think Alabama's problem, your issue is going to be the secondary. I'm concerned. Damani Jackson, what he was able to do coming in and just saying, one of these corners, I'm taking that spot. You guys don't have to worry about it. I know you got all these freshmen. They're all going to be overwhelmed. You only want to give them a little bit at a time. Oh, Xavier Brown, he looks good. That's my guy back from high school. We can communicate well. I can get Xavier comfortable. When Xavier needs to come out, Jalen Backwell will come in, and Deshaun Jones will come in. We'll work to it. But to have one of the cornerbacks, I mean, we all knew what was going to go on at safety with Malachi. We thought Keon Sabb was going to be pretty good,
and he was.
We thought Damani was going to. Damani was not kid ourselves, is a former 5-star recruit, but his time at USC was not so great.
Left a bit to be desired.
Right. And I think circumstances went into play at that. I'm not going to put that all at Damani's feet, but let's just be honest. It wasn't the football that he wanted to be playing. And he came here. What he allowed the secondary to do to say, okay, we will figure out these other freshmen if you can please give us adequate. And he gave you a lot more than adequate play at one of the cornerback positions. He gave you, second team all conference, first team all conference. He gave you, hey, he's one of the best corners in this conference.
I would fully agree with that. I mean, he basically, you look at Alabama's games this year, you look at the box score from those games, and basically every week you look, wide receiver 1, he kind of got taken away. Okay, so they had to turn to somebody else. Wonder why? It's because Damani Jackson locked him down. He was able to essentially take one option away from every offense Alabama played against this year. Now, You look to the Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma games. All they did was turn around and go to the running backs. But that's not on Damani. That's not Damani's fault. He did everything he could.
I think he played the run when he was asked or when he was invited.
Sure. Yeah, Damani Jackson is not going to stop a team from getting 200 rushing yards on you.
It's not his job.
That's not his. Yeah, that's not his job. That's exactly right. And at his job, he was excellent this year. He locked down, guys that are going to be in the NFL draft, guys that are going to be first round picks in the NFL draft. Kept them from really affecting games. And you look to the Luther Burden, you look to Theo Weiss at Missouri, and obviously the quarterback affected that too, but he still kept those guys in check. You look to Kyron Lacey at LSU. He was not very effective in that game until right at the very end. He catches the garbage time touchdown. And then you look to Cam Colvin this last week at Auburn and Keandre Lambert-Smith. And they had some good plays here and there, but for the most part, they didn't beat Alabama. And that was that's what you ask of your corner. That's what you ask of your corner going against elite wide receivers. You ask, all right, I understand that guy's going to get his, but don't let him beat us. And that's what Damani did for Alabama this year.
So I think Ryan belongs in the top 3. I think Damani belongs in that top 3. And honestly, I wanted to say Bray Hubbard and I wanted to go with you for Jeremy, but I got to go with Parker Brailsford because of what the stability that he offered you on the offensive line. Now, lost his helmet half a dozen times this year.
Strap it up, big
guy. He said one of the times they gave him too big of a helmet for his hair at one point. They thought the hair would, but they sized down and made it work or whatever. But yeah, I think that what he was able to give you, I mean, we'll go the lazy route and just say the improved snapping.
Sure. I mean, it's obvious though. That is a plus.
But then also to say, hey, you didn't have to play. I mean, there are other options at center right now. I mean, Geno Vandermark out of the transfer portal is an option. Rock Montgomery is an option, probably. Joe Anata is an option. Casey, you got some of these young guys that have very limited experience once you're past Geno Vandermark. And he allowed Geno to spell Jaden Roberts. And I think he held it down there in the center. So, yeah, I think if I had to settle a top 3, I'll go Ryan, I'll go Damani, and I will go Parker Brailsford. I hate singling a single person out. But if I had to, golly, my newcomer of the year, I think you're probably going to go Damani. Yeah.
I like that pick, and I love the Brailsford pick. He does all of the things that you just said. He provided so much consistency and so much just solid play from the center position this year. I mean, I don't even know that I can remember any bad snaps off the top of my head. I don't really remember a lot of any plays where you're watching it and you see that Parker Brailsford directly missed a block. Like he did his job and he did it very well, did it efficiently, and he kept the offensive line moving, kept them. He was kind of the leader of that group. It felt like this year at times, and yeah, like you said, he allowed the other guys to rotate around the other positions around him. So yeah, he was very, very good transfer, very good pickup for Alabama in the transfer portal this year, and he was awesome.
You want to stick with Jeremy, or are you going somewhere else here?
I like Jeremy too much. I just like him too much. I got to stick with him.
We love it. So we're going Damani Jackson and Jeremy Bernard as our newcomers of the year. You can let us know if we're right or wrong in the comment section at Joe Gaither 6 on your favorite social media machine. We are going to get out of here for the day. We hope you enjoy your conference championship game weekend. If it's your thing to watch every single game, then do it up. But if you'll probably
see some entertaining games.
Yeah, it's going to be great. But if you are thinking about getting some Christmas things done with the family, this might be the time, because Alabama is about to be back playing football either in South Bend, in Columbus, Ohio, or in Happy Valley, Pennsylvania. So we'll see as we continue. We'll be back on Monday to tell you if Alabama was in or out. So react to the field and react to the matchup right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither 6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.